to travel. That's the issue here.
Correct.
My next guest says prosecutors are using techniques normally used in criminal cases to make sure this case is airtight. Stuart Meisner is a former Assistant Attorney General for the state of New York, currently managing member of Stuart D. Meisner, LLC. Stuart, 5 of the people charged today have already pleaded guilty. Do you think that they're cutting deals? How important is that to the overall case for the prosecution?
Well, thank you, Liz. I definitely do believe that they are looking to cut deals with the prosecutor. It certainly is very helpful to have cooperative witnesses to testify in federal prosecutions, and obviously it would only add to the evidence that they obtained from wiretaps, which is frankly unique. It's typically used in organized crime investigations and prosecutions. So it is a shot across the bow of Wall Street that they will use techniques that have previously been used in other organized crime investigations for Wall Street investigations. So I think it is very interesting.
Well, we all remember Bud Fox in the movie Wall Street wearing the wire, but we do not usually see wiretaps for Wall Street or high finance cases. So I guess my question is this: what advantage does that give prosecutors to have that, and are they under pressure to bring in more arrests so that they bolster their case?
Well, it is an enormous advantage. This case sounds like it was a huge web of insider trading, if the allegations are true. It's not just someone who just, like the Martha Stewart case, one person trading on insider trading, but it seemed like it was an organized effort to use inside information by multiple individuals to help a hedge fund for a very long time. And it's very unique, and I'm not surprised that the prosecutors would use such resources such as wiretaps, which you would need to go to a judge to get authorization for, and pursue it in that fashion.
Stuart, you've been on the inside of the New York Attorney General's office. Do you get the sense that they can win this case?
Based on what I've heard, I think it's a very strong case so far. Based on what I know.
Stuart, stay with us. I want to bring in the team. The SEC director said today that some of the accused seemed to think somehow that they were in a James Bond movie. Listen in.
There are certain moral truths that are self-evident, and there should be a moment, hopefully before you're holding a bag of cash, delivered to you by somebody codenamed the Octopussy, that causes anyone in a position to tip or trade inside information to think twice before taking such a misguided step. And if you find yourself chewing the memory card in your cell phone to destroy any record of a conversation, something has gone terribly wrong with your character.
Chewing the memory card. Okay, these details are getting crazier by the minute. Do these guys think they're above the law? And Chris Cotter, that's a rhetorical question.
I know.
Sounds like they did.
Either that or they're very hungry. And I tell you, Steven Seagal said it best: no one is above the law. It's amazing, though, after what they've seen from this last year. We've really cracked down on this white-collar crime, and how anybody can think they can get away with it, or that the fact that they're working on Wall Street would give them an edge, or they've got a lot of money would give them an edge, is pretty crazy to me.
Robert Gray, there is always that arrogance. Very wealthy people sometimes feel that they are above the law. Is this a manifestation of that?
Absolutely, and you've got, they mentioned this web, and you've got people, they've got lawyers involved, you've got traders, various hedge funds, analysts involved here, and they were getting this information tipped off, Liz. You remember in 2007, every time a stock would jump, there was no news on it. They were instantly an M&A takeover target. Well, these guys were getting in ahead of those runs, and they thought, we've got this great little web of different people in strategic places. We'll never get caught, but that's, their folly. That's when, they trip up. They end up getting caught.
Adam, really? One of the people involved had a code name Octopussy?
Yeah, a man by the name of Zvi Goffer, who was the head of one of the, allegedly the head of one of these insider trading networks. And keep in mind, what you have is kind of 6 degrees of separation from Galleon. You have several hedge funds, several law firms, several different firms actually implicated in a growing scandal. But to this question of did they think they were above the law, maybe not, because it was Octopussy, or Zvi Goffer, who was telling people allegedly to stuff files, to cover our backs, to break the cell phones and destroy the SIM cards, so that just in case things blew up, there would be no way to trace them. And you wouldn't want to do that if you thought that the law wasn't going to catch up with you, would you?
And Stuart, can prosecutors use that as behavior that is pretty damning evidence?
Yeah, it's called consciousness of guilt. And there's an old saying, a guilty conscience needs no accuser. I use that often when I was a prosecutor in summations. So I do think those actions are fairly damning for the person that did those actions.
Stuart Meisner of Stuart D. Meisner, LLC, former New York State Assistant Attorney General. Great to see you. Thank you for the perspective. And I would say, folks, that no Countdown to the Closing Bell show is complete unless we quote Steven Seagal or use the name Octopussy. I know. Look at, now we're back up near the highs here. Let's get to Nicole Petalides on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Nicole.